I was born in St Kilda, and I was born on the 6th of January 1928. My father died when I was I'd virtually just turned 15. Because of the war, our social life was fairly limited. You know, we had blackouts, the windows covered with black paper and headlights of cars trimmed down so that couldn't be seen easily from the sky. And we weren't really encouraged at that age to go out nights. Particularly my mother was very protective, and she was concerned about us getting around. When all the other young men were off fighting, you know, the girls were just about falling over themselves to meet him. So I used to go along and hang on, and I'd get the discards. No, that's not true. We really didn't have. He really didn't do much with girls then. I think we were too young, and I think we were very immature. We did ice skating, dancing. Go dance in Melbourne. It was hard on my mother. She was constantly trying to make ends meet, and to the stage that she actually bought a little florist shop. That she used to have to go to the market in the morning. I think she used to have to leave home at 4 a.m. to get into the market, collect all the flowers she wanted, and then bring them back to the shop. Difficult for her, and my brother, Norman, who's 5 years younger. 5 years is quite a difference, particularly at that age. I mean, I was into puberty and he wasn't. At that stage, I would have been 17. The war would have been nearly over, and there was few men around, and so we found ourselves amazingly popular until the men did come back, and then all of a sudden we got dropped like hot scones because, you know, we were kids. My friends and I used to go dancing, particularly for Saturday night. We'd go down to St Kilda Town Hall, and one of my friends is a chap called Tony, and we'd see some beautiful girl, we'd see who could get the most dances with her or whatever. Then he came back and he said, "Oh, I just danced with a terrific girl. Gee, she's lovely, and she's a damn good dancer too." And I said, "Which is she?" And he said, "That girl there. I'm going to go and ask her another dance." So I said, "After I do it," I went straight up to her and danced with her, and it was Judy Rose Wood was her name. We became attached, and she said, "Well, I've got to tell you, I'm going to England. I've been saving up for a long time. I'll be away for 2 years." She went away, and then I realised how much I missed her. And I used to write 3 or 4 times a week and tell her how much I missed her. To my surprise, she wrote back and said, "Well, I've missed you too, and I want to come back." So she came back, and we became engaged almost straight away. Honeymoon in an old car that I rebuilt up to Service Paradise. Came back, time to go to the Olympic Games. I think only about 7 or 8 months after we were married, she found she was pregnant. They came quick and fast. We had 4 children within 5 years. Which even surprised me. It took me a long time to work out what was doing it. The joke is that Judy, my wife, would say, "I can't walk past him in the hall or I'll be pregnant." So, but we had a good time. We had a lovely family. Our children then and now are well-rounded, nice, kind-hearted, considerate and generous human beings. Most considerate towards other people, have families of their own. All of the grandchildren are delightful kids. As far as I'm concerned, I've had a very successful life and a very happy life.
I grew up in Belgium. I was born in 1927 in Ghent. Well, actually in a village near Ghent. I had a wonderful childhood, really lovely, until 1940, when we were invaded by Germany. And my first recollections of that is from morning till night, streams and streams of people fleeing to France to get away. And of course, they couldn't. Then my father was called up, so my mother and I hid in the woods for 3 weeks, and we had a little dog, and every day we would come home, feed the dog, because we couldn't have him with us because he would give us away. So we came back to the house every day to feed him. And then after about 3 weeks, my mother said she did not want to do that anymore. So we went back to the house, let the blinds down so we could just see the road. And we stayed indoors until the German forces came into our village, which wasn't really as frightening as we thought it would have been. There were just about 6 on each side of the road with motorcycles and sidecars. And they went to the Shire Hall, walked in, ushered everybody out, occupied it, and we were occupied. And that was it. That was the beginning. And that was also the beginning of my teenage years. I was 12. So from then on, it was shortage of everything, shortage of food, shortage of fuel, and I can remember more being cold and hungry. And I still would prefer being hungry than cold. There was absolutely nothing you could do as a teenager. I could go to the pictures, to the cinema. I had some close friends, you know, about 3 girlfriends and about 2 boys we were very friendly with. And we just met, had a bit of fun at, you know, in each other's houses, and that was it. You're kidding. Oh no, no. No, I'm afraid not. We didn't even look at them. They were in the village every day. A whole platoon of them would go up and down the road at midday singing. And I think that was only to intimidate us, really. But as far as, you know, fraternizing was absolutely out of the question, because we were fiercely patriotic. So I think there was only about 3 girls in the village that actually fraternized with the Germans. And after the war, they were rounded up, put on a lorry, cut their hair off, tarred and feathered, and that was it. We used to listen to the BBC, but of course that was very dangerous to listen to the BBC, because if they caught you, you would be put in concentration camp or tortured or whatever. But I found a way by putting my finger on the lamp at the back of the set, and I cut out the interference so I could listen to the BBC, or we could listen to the BBC very briefly, just, you know, because it really was too dangerous. As the war progressed, they also became, because after having plundered everything and taken everything, there was nothing left. So they also began to be hungry. And I can remember them, I can see it now, this German soldier coming from the soup kitchen with a little dish and one little corner of a piece of bread. That was his lunch. So, and they were very young, the last ones that were occupied in our village. I think they wouldn't have been more than 17 years old, those boys. Anyway, then they left, and then we didn't have anybody. But in the meantime, we knew that the Allies had landed. The girlfriend next door was talking to 3 soldiers who had come down the village looking what the local talent was. And there were 3 soldiers on one Norton motorbike. And she introduced me to, this is Norman, Ray, Bill. And I shook hands with Bill. We looked into each other's eyes, and I knew that instant something was, I didn't understand it. I played cards with them and with my girlfriend and her mother and her aunt and her uncle. And 10 o'clock I had to be back inside because my mother and father were very strict. And I did. And Bill followed me outside, and we had a cuddle and a kiss. And he was talking to me, but I didn't understand what he was saying because I didn't understand English. I thought I understood marry and love. So that was it. We met again, and we were walking along, and he gave me a letter. And in the letter, it was one line in French, one line in English, and it said, after the war, I would like to come back and marry you. And I told him no. But I didn't really know anything that was going on. He used to write to me every day, and by the end of the war I had 287 letters. And I couldn't understand any of them, and I couldn't write back to him in English either. But I got the gist of what it said. In 1945, he came back with his commanding officer to officially ask my mother and father permission for us to get married, and, I love this, to see if I was fit to become a British subject. And apparently I was approved. But my mother and father said they thought we were too young. And he told my mum and dad that not to worry because he was going to be taken off to Japan to fight. And he said it'd probably be another 2 years before they come back. But then if you remember the bomb in Hiroshima, so they didn't go. And that's why we got married the following year in February.